Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. Good movie. It was, I would say it was as good as the original. Maybe even better. You know what? Yeah. I'm going to say it was better than the original. This movie stars Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, as Dr. Smolder Bravestone. That's just crazy to me. Karen Gillan as Ruby Roundhouse. Jack Black as Professor Shelley Oberon. And Kevin Hart as Moose Finbar, which might be Mouse Finbar. I'm trying not to give away any spoilers, but there's a special guest star that wasn't announced originally that's in the movie. He's a singer. It's rated PG-13, but there were at least 4 cuss words in it, and I don't know, it seems like that would have pushed it to an R, but maybe they kept it just under where it needed to be. It's sort of a part 2 to the original, not really, but kind of a part 2 minus all of the original cast. I don't think anybody from the original movie was in this movie, and it was unnecessary. It's kind of what happened next as opposed to a part 2. I mean, the board game was still around at the end, and it's just, who found it next. It wasn't really what happened to these characters. So it was kind of, but not really a part 2. Basically what happens to 4 kids that have very little in common end up together, and they end up playing the game. Now the game is in more modern times. It's not back when Robin Williams found it. So the game today has modernized itself. It's living. It's an alive thing. It's like an actual entity, and it changes itself to fit more modern gamers. Once they start playing the game, they get pulled inside, right? And once they're inside the game, they find out that that's when they find out that the game is actually alive. And they're kind of competing against the game and a equally powerful presence in the game to end the game. So they've got to play the game out, just like, with Robin Williams, they got to play the game out. But as opposed to being outside Jumanji, and Jumanji is dripping into our world, they're in Jumanji. They're in the land of Jumanji, so they're playing in the game. There were a ton of laughs in this. You got Jack Black, The Rock's funny, and you've got Kevin Hart. So you got a lot of comic power there. And some of the jokes hit, some missed. Some of the jokes were better than other ones. But it was still funny. Their object really is to save Jumanji from this other entity. But it doesn't seem like Jumanji really cared about giving them a break. I mean, if I was in the water and you were trying to save me, I'd stick my hand out so you could help me. When you pulled, I'd pull so you could pull me out of the water. I wouldn't fight you. But Jumanji, even though it wants to be saved, is fighting them, man. And that wasn't cool. The funniest part to me in the movie was one of the Rock's. Each one of them has powers and weaknesses. The Rock's power, one of his powers, was the smolder. He'd look at you, and people would be like, oh, and they'd melt and do what he wanted. So he could hit him with the smolder, and reminded me of that guy who was named Finn Rider from Untitled. He'd hit you with the smolder, and that was funny. No disrespect to Robin Williams at all, but I think this movie was definitely better. Probably because it's more modern times. I got better sci-fi. I got a stronger cast. I like this movie better. I like this movie. And they were in the game instead of out of the game, which was big to me because I was like, what is Jumanji like, man? There's hunters in there, and monsters, and lions, and tigers, and bears. Oh my. So now we get to see what the land of Jumanji's like. And there's people in there, man. There's like tons of people in the game. They don't know they're in the game, but they're there. All of these people's superpowers, secret powers, are hilarious. So I think it was a good game. I think it was a good movie. I think it's well worth the watch. And I give this movie a 7 that's so strong it might as well be 8 bags of popcorn. Man, I give this 8 bags of popcorn. But more importantly, have you seen the movie? Did you dig it? What was your favorite movie, Jumanji or Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle? Let's talk about it in the comments. And as always, if you like the video, if you like the content, then subscribe. And then like.
Popcorn passport. Get your popcorn passport.